Another day means more wrestling action figure news for us, man, and this is something that typically happens every single year as we approach San Diego Comic-Con. I know you've heard the term enough, man, but I'm excited for the event. I really am. I'm going to be out there, of course, covering it, and we do have brand new wrestling action figure news. Before we even get there, now I do want to preface this video by saying that in this video, we're going to be talking about leaked WWE action figure lineups, and they are going to be elites and some stuff like that. So I want to go ahead and put that out there. If you do not want that spoiled for you, you want to wait till preview night, you want to wait a week or whatever the case is until you see these figures or whatever the case is, man, I did want to put kind of a spoiler warning for you just in case you don't want to know or you want to wait to be surprised. There it is for you, man, but we're going to dive into it today, man. We're getting into the WrestleMania 42 Elite Wave as well as the Build-A-Figure, and I'm pretty hyped for the set. We're going to get into it. We're going to, untie everything, man, but I do want to give a huge shout out to my man Mitch Craig, who pretty much bats 1,000 on these things, man. I know we talk about it all the time. Nobody bats 1,000. Well, this man bats pretty damn close to it, brother. He's up there. He's Ichiro Suzuki in this bish, and he is slapping down bunts, and he's reaching first base. This man knows what he's talking about. I don't know his source, but he has a very good track record, man. So I would say, without a shadow of a doubt, it's all but confirmed at this point that this is probably what we're going to get. And what's even crazier about it is I think he even got the attires, and we're going to break all of it down here, man. But let's get into it, and I'll kind of touch on some different stuff, on some different lore about it, which we'll get into, but let's dive into it, man. WrestleMania 42 Elite Build-A-Figure Wave. You do know that they are going back to Vegas. I will be going back to Vegas as well to go to WrestleMania next year. No doubt about it. It was an absolute fun time out there with everybody. Just incredible venue for it, and I look forward to WrestleMania 42 already, man. But getting into it first, the first figure in this set, you may be mind blown by this. It's going to be John Cena. There's another John Cena Elite coming, and it is going to be represented in this WrestleMania 42. Now, when I first heard this news that we were getting John Cena in this WrestleMania Build-A-Figure wave, of course, as the massive John Cena fan that I am and wrestling figure collector of John Cena, I was like, hell yeah, I'm very happy for this because of my fandom, right? Of course I'm going to be excited about this, but the thing about this specific figure is, I was running down, okay, what event could it be? Because this is before I actually saw the image of it or what we think it's going to be or what the projection of it is going to be. And I started running down all the WrestleManias. Could it be this Mania? Could it be this Mania? Could it be this Mania? And I was checking them off little by little. I was like, it couldn't be WrestleMania 19 or it'd be a really deep cut. I think he wore like a WrestleMania 19 tracksuit. And then I thought to myself, we just got the WrestleMania 20 look in the Fan Takeover Ultimate Edition, right? Then I thought about WrestleMania 21. We have not gotten that. So we got it in a basic WrestleMania Heritage figure way back in the day. That would have been a cool update, given the Chain Gang basketball jersey, which is what I really kind of wanted this to be. But WrestleMania 22, we got it in the Elite 118 Collector's Edition, you know, with the gangster entrance with the trench coat or the Flash Me Cena in the parking garage. WrestleMania 23, we have Cena in the WrestleMania 34 Elite Wave. And I talked about this just yesterday on my wish list, getting this figure redone. Well, Brad, wouldn't you know it, in this Elite Wave for WrestleMania 42, apparently it is going to be WrestleMania 23 where he took on Shawn Michaels. Now, this is huge for 20 million reasons, and I'll get into it with you right now. The Fan Takeover Ultimate Edition, this was one of the suggestions to make. This was actually one of the figures on the fan vote. Everybody wanted WrestleMania 20, even though it was going to have all the details left off, and that is what we got. Not a bad figure, just missing a lot of the details of that certain figure. Well, now we may be getting our WrestleMania 23 Cena because it looks like this is going to be the Cena that is represented in this wave here. Now, this means Green George Cena. I hope to God, and there's a lot, oh my Lord in heaven, man, it will be a huge disappointment for me if they just re-release that WrestleMania 34 figure with double jointed arms. If they paint the armbands on again, I will be devastated. If they give us a tiny shirt again, devastation again. Lacking details in the hat and armbands, devastation. They gotta redo this figure completely. I hope they get the shoe details. He should have the black and white sneakers. He should have a larger, I don't care if it's Velcro. If it's a Velcro shirt, we'll live with it. I would love to see no Velcro, front and back graphic, accurate hat, removable camo bicep and wristbands that have the accurate colors and logos of the dog, man. That is what I want to see out of this figure. Great selection here for this. I'm all day for this. This figure desperately needed a re-release, and this is beautiful. So hopefully that is what the gear is here, but that is the first figure in the wave. I know I went into a whole different spiel there, but the second figure in this WrestleMania wave is going to be Seth Rollins. Now, you do know this. They have done a crap ton of Seth Rollins WrestleMania figures, and I'll tell you what the event is afterwards, but they've actually done quite a few here, man. I mean, if you go through the history of Seth Rollins WrestleMania matches, WrestleMania 30, we pretty much have it. It was in a Shield gear. You know, WrestleMania 29, also a Shield gear. WrestleMania 36 versus Kevin Owens, we did see in a basic back in the day. We also got WrestleMania 33 in Elite Series 57 in his matchup with Triple H. You guys remember that with the torch entrance and all that different jazz. We also had WrestleMania 35 where he slayed the Beast, captured the Universal Championship. Also saw that in the Fan Takeover, which was kind of like an upgraded version of his, cash-in figure is kind of what that was, just kind of a repaint of that figure, similar tights and stuff like that. WrestleMania 37, night number 1, he took on Cesaro. That was basically the Elite 93 figure. That's what that was representing. The tights with the black and red, that was WrestleMania 37, night 1. Already have that figure. WrestleMania 31, not only his matchup with Randy Orton, but also his cash-in figure. We've gotten that twice. We had the original Toys R Us exclusive, and then we did get the Greatest Hits version. WrestleMania 34 in that Game of Thrones gear, I think it was. We saw that in a battle pack with The Miz. Really wish that would have been an Elite or something like that. I know people still to this day want to see that figure. WrestleMania 38, we never saw WrestleMania 38. That's when he took on Cody Rhodes. We did get Cody Rhodes from that matchup in the Mattel Creations Ultimate Edition, that first Cody Rhodes Ultimate. And then last year, we did see his WrestleMania 39 Elite in the pink in his matchup with Logan Paul. We also got the Logan Paul from that matchup as well in the Top Picks wave. And then this year, we got his WrestleMania 40 Night 2 attire with the white, with the Fear of God Nike shoes and stuff like that. Well, man, apparently in this set, it is going to be his WrestleMania 41 gear. His WrestleMania 41 gear, I don't even know how that's possible. Because usually they have these sets out on display. Like every single year at Comic-Con, they usually have the full wave right there on display. And I guess unless they knew about it already, they knew exactly what gear he was going to have and all that, maybe they could do that. But if it's not that, and again, the attires that he put on this graphic for this WrestleMania Elite Wave could be completely wrong, and he's just making a guess. I wouldn't think so, but maybe that's possible. Maybe he just knows the lineup. He doesn't know the exact attires they're going to be. But what's interesting about that is that would be insane to have that kind of turnaround. There's no possible way, so I wouldn't think that it would be that. But at the same time, maybe it's his WrestleMania 40 Night 1 gear. We've never seen that in figure form. I highly doubt to Jesus they would do his Shield gear from night number 2. That would be oh my God, can you imagine? That would be such a lifeless release, man. That would be another Shield Seth Rollins, and we just got an updated Greatest Hits one that's basically what he wore on night number 2 during that main event. So I would love to see WrestleMania 40 Night 1, but I mean, WrestleMania 41 would be a crazy one as well. I just don't know if they have that turnaround time unless they knew about it beforehand, but I guess anything's possible. But let's move on to figure number 3, and it's going to be Jake the Snake Roberts. Now, I do not know what gear this could be. My original thought was his matchup with Rick Martel, I think it was. Was it Mania 7? And they had the blind match, whatever, or the blindfold match with the bag on the head. I think that'd be interesting. You just repaint a Jake the Snake. In these WrestleMania Elite waves, any pay-per-view Build-A-Figure waves, they typically do not add a lot of sculpt. Sometimes they do. We've seen it before, like that WrestleMania 39 Rollins in the pink last year. It's completely possible that they add a couple sculpts here and there, but for the most part, these are supposed to be repaints of previously done figures for the most part. And Jake the Snake, you could easily repaint one of his figures or upgrade one of his previously done figures. I think it was the Hall of Fame. I think that was one of his WrestleMania attires as well, so that could possibly be a thing. But blindfold match would be really fun, and maybe that, I don't know. I know everybody would lose their mind, at least if you know the history of it, if they redid Rick the Martyr Martel in the From the Vault series or any of the Greatest Hits waves or the Legends Greatest Hits. I know people would lose their minds there, and maybe you could pair that with the Jake the Snake. You give them both the blindfold, and bam, you have yourselves a little Mania matchup right there. But who knows? In this graphic, he did use a white Jake the Snake, but I guess anything's possible. Again, we don't know. I don't know from where I'm sitting right here. Of course, all this is subject to change, but I do think this lineup most likely correct, like 99%. I think this is absolutely the lineup, But as far as the graphics, I don't know if it's going to match the attire. We'll have to wait and see till preview night, or if they post the gallery beforehand. But lots of stuff to be excited for, man. But the last figure in this WrestleMania set, before we get into the Build-A-Figure, is going to be Stardust, which is just ludicrous. I mean, that's crazy. A crazy Stardust figure. Now, if you remember back in Elite Series 103, this was at WrestleMania 39. They showed off the Stardust from WrestleMania 32. Now, Stardust has only had 2 WrestleMania matches to my knowledge. Maybe I'm missing one, Brad. But WrestleMania 32 was the Dusty Rhodes attire. That was, I think, in my personal opinion, the best Stardust attire they've ever done. That was a really damn good Elite that they released in Elite Series 103 with, Cody and the Stardust makeup and get-up. You had the Dusty Rhodes ladder from that matchup, which was the best matchup on the card, in my opinion. But this was, the only other option is WrestleMania 31, which would be this black, silver, and orange gear, which is really unique. Now, I don't expect to see any entrance gear in this entire wave. I don't think Seth Rollins will probably come with any entrance gear. They could prove me wrong. They could absolutely prove me wrong. Maybe they're able to fit it in, but I feel like for the most part, the history of this line, John Cena will have his accessory. He'll have his shirt. He'll have his hat. I think it'd be a lifeless release without him. But as far as elaborate entrance coats like WrestleMania 39 with the Seth Rollins or his Elite 117, I know that's not the Mania wave, but I don't think they have the budget for these lines to be able to put those elaborate cloth goods. Now, I guess anything is possible, like I said, but with Stardust, I don't think we're going to get the entrance gear. We'll probably get, a repainted Stardust head sculpt from Elite 36, or I imagine it's going to be a repaint of the Elite 36 head, maybe with effects and the makeup applied and things like that. But I hope for a pretty toyetic figure. I bet it will be. Orange gloves and everything would be really crazy, and maybe he'll come with a ladder again. I think he used like a glitter ladder or something like that in that matchup, so maybe that could be a really cool thing. But that is your full lineup there. John Cena, Seth Rollins, Jake the Snake, and Cody Rhodes, or Stardust there, which again is a very interesting wave. I think we're going to see these on display in the case. They always do it every single year. And in the corner, they should have the Build-A-Figure there. And these hit pretty fast right after they're revealed at Comic-Con. Not that long after that. They'll go up for pre-order, I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong there, but I want to say they'll go up for pre-order during the week of Comic-Con for Ringside, and then Ringside will get them in a few months. But the Build-A-Figure here is crazy. It is going to be Sam Roberts, man. Sam Roberts, long-time Mattel fan, Mattel WWE figure fan, and, wrestling commentator and sports analyst and everything for WWE. This man has put in work over a decade, I'm pretty sure, being around the industry and media and stuff like that. And to get his first figure right here is insanity. If this is true, which I believe it will be. But you guys know, if it was announced just yesterday that the panel for the WWE Mattel team and the design team and everything there at Comic-Con, they always do a panel, which we'll cover here on the channel, so stay tuned to that. Follow me on Instagram at MyDamnToys. But Sam Roberts, Julia, Jey Uso, and Jacob Fatu are all going to be a part of that panel. So I imagine at the panel, they're going to present him with his first ever figure as a Build-A-Figure, and it'll be a big deal, and it'll be pretty crazy. I'm excited to see what goes on with that. I think that's going to be insane. So I think it'll be great, man. I think that's awesome. I love that this is happening. I like this little wave right here. Of course, everything remains to be seen. How is everything executed amongst this wave? Is the details and all these different things going to be, signed, sealed, delivered? Are they going to be great? Are they going to be on top of it? Or will it lack in certain areas? We will have to see. I mean, if you go back to last year's Mania wave, it was kind of a weak wave, I feel like. You had a really good Bianca, you had a really good Seth Rollins, and then you had chilling out of the con Hulk Hogan, and then that Bret Hart, which just wasn't my favorite Bret Hart. I felt like it shuffled a lot, didn't like the head sculpt. So, lots to be seen here. We'll have to wait and see what it looks like. But if this happens to be WrestleMania 23 Cena, I'm ecstatic. If this happens to be, I guess anything besides a Shield Seth Rollins, I'll be excited for. Hell, they could even redo one they've done in the past as long as it's updated and maybe they change some stuff about it. I'd be happy with it. I think Jake the Snake and Stardust is fair. I don't really think of them when I think of WrestleMania, but I don't think that's necessarily always the biggest deal. Like a Shawn Michaels from '04, like WrestleMania 20 would have been cool or something, but I guess they don't necessarily always do defining WrestleMania moments. They just capture looks of the characters from WrestleMania. So we'll have to see all that, man, but that is it for today's news video, man. Hope you guys did enjoy. I'd love to know your thoughts on this WrestleMania Elite Wave and everything like that going forward. Lots of news between now and the end of Comic-Con because it is that kind of season right now. So we're going to see lots of different figure reveals and pre-orders and all kinds of shish. And then within the next, from today until next Saturday, it's going to be a lot of news, I imagine. You can see over the last, day or two, we've already had a lot. And then, we'll probably continue to see some as we approach Comic-Con, because that's kind of what happens every single year. So we'll see what all comes of it, man. But that is pretty much going to wrap it up for me today. I hope you guys did enjoy. I'd love to know all of your thoughts here down below. But I'm getting the hell out, man. I'll see you guys next time. Have a blessed one, and I'll catch you guys later.